Hello and welcome to the Memory Capsule Podcast, where we interview members of the Pokemon trading card game community. My name is Rafal Gladys. Each week we'll be speaking with our guests about their background with the Pokemon TCG, how they got involved with the game, and give them an opportunity to share their love of the game. Today's guest is Alessandro Cremascoli, also known as iCaterpie. Alessandro is a player from Italy who has had a significant amount of success in the Pokemon TCG ever since he started playing over 10 years ago. He is an Italian national champion, a regional champion, and a multiple time Worlds competitor. He has also started making Italian content for the Pokemon TCG community in Italy, and these are all topics that we're going to discuss in our episode today. How are you doing, Alessandro?
Hello, hi everyone. Yeah, it's so strange. It's always strange when someone speak about your achievement, your history. It make me feel so old, so damn old. This is actually my 20th season. I started to play 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, you know why I'm feeling old, right?
Yeah, you said you're only 31 before we started. I don't think that's that old. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm feeling old, man.
If there's any, is there anything I missed that you'd like our listeners to know about you, or
Well, as I say, I start to play competitive 20 years ago. I mean, Pokemon came up little time before that. I was so young, but I start to play competitive very, very early. Um, I win, I won something in this time, thanks God. I just trying to enjoy my time with my friends in this community.
great. So I'm gonna start by asking you the question that I've been asking all of our guests, which for a player who's such a veteran like you, maybe it's a more difficult question. What is your favorite card of all time?
Yeah, I definitely should prepare this.
It's okay.
I had a very not exactly complicated, but I have a very strange um, past. I start to play very young, and during my first period, I just play water type Pokemon because I don't know honestly why, but at that time it seems to be a very good things to do. So I spend the very early on my competitive career playing water type Pokemon. Then I had this. Amazing love for the rogue deck, for every kind of deck that people really think someone never really should play in a tournament. I love those kind of decks. So my career was basically a disaster since 2018 or something like that. And in that period, I just discovered this beautiful Regigigas, then give me the best season that I ever had. So I have to say that the Regigigas that actually start everything about my YouTube, my Twitch, my everything. So Regigigas. I
Hmm.
don't even really like the Pokemon, but that card is it's my favorite.
So this is the I'm looking it up. This is like the 180 HP. It can't attack unless all the other Regis are in play. So if anyone looks up this card, they might be thinking, why is this card so good? Could you explain it a bit? Why it was so good and the deck that it was in?
Yeah, sure. That card actually is not good at all, but it's a basic Pokemon. It was actually a basic Pokemon with a lot of HP, and it was the first time that I discovered control deck, stall deck. Basically, Regigigas was a huge wall that at that time Pokemon it was they struggled to knock out. So the only reason why I put Regigigas in attack was just resist. You have to hold on until your opponent finishes resources. So just stay there, wait, let me win my game with a very 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 long game. So just that. I don't even have the energy in the deck to make him possible to attack. You just have to hold on.
Yeah, so it's just based on like you just have so many basics with so much HP that your opponent runs out of resources and then you finally win the game, pretty much, right?
Yeah, exactly. And before I'm not sure before that. A lot of control deck, a lot of stall deck, a lot of mill deck make their appearance in the competitive tournament. But before that, as I saying, I spend most of my time just playing very, 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 very bad deck. And that was my very first bad deck that suddenly wasn't so bad at all.
Mm.
And I just start to playing that, enjoying a lot of, and I don't know, seeing my opponent struggle so much in order to keep to just try to take a knockout on that useless Regigius, it was, I don't know, it just I don't know, light a sparkle in me. This is amazing. This is an amazing feeling. I never had this before. So I start playing that a lot since they just decide to make the rotation before the wars. It make me so sad. But yeah, that was probably one of the few first love I had in this game. Talking about cards, of course.
Did you kind of have to adjust the way you play the game? I know that control sometimes is good, sometimes it's not. Recently, we've just kind of had like the Mewtwo control deck and the stuff that Sander makes. Before that, we had the Pidgeotto control. Usually, there's maybe one good control deck in the meta, sometimes none. Did it take you kind of an adjustment to become comfortable with that kind of play style? Had you played control before?
No, I before that I never play control. I didn't even know what the control deck was before that. During my years in this game, I just knew what kind of deck was the tier one, the most playable deck, the most powerful deck. I just know that and make sure that I never play that deck because I don't know. I don't have any reasonable feeling about not playing that deck, but I just know that I want to win a tournament, win a game in my way, in my personal way, and after all of this time, it just start to make sense somehow. And when I discover this control deck, I don't know, it was something different from everything I play since then. So I just learn how to control the game, how to control the time, how to not making a rush decision, and I don't think I think starting from that Regigigas Hoopa and the year before with the year after with Pidgeotto Oranguru, there was just two huge season when Control Deck makes something actually amazing. And well, Pokemon TPC I didn't really like that, so I don't think we will see a Control Deck anymore, or at least not in a very short term. Thunder, of course, it's a wizard with those kind of deck. So if someone can create something, it's him. So we just wait and see what he will just took out from that in the next tournament.
Of course. Yeah, there's always some cards getting released that no one's looking at, and then Sander figures something out with it. So we'll see at NAIC last year. We had the Mewtwo V Union
Yeah,
come out
yeah,
of nowhere.
I
So
can't wait for it. I can't wait for it.
yeah, I'm very excited. I'm sure since last NAIC the expectations on him have gotten a lot higher because that deck was just so creative that I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on him now. So
Yes, most of the time, I hate him so much because, especially talking about NIC, there is this part of time where we never play each other. We don't test together, but for some kind of reason, we arrive at the same deck in the same time. So I was already testing Mewtwo, and he just make this amazing result at NIC. I was just, ah, why? I want to play that deck at Worlds. Why? So
that's
I
very
actually
funny.
I actually just resolved to play Mewtwo in at at Worlds, and it was a complete disaster. Everyone already know about the deck. Everyone already was prepared to the deck. It was just so bad.
Mm. Yeah, that's definitely some of the struggle. Like it's just kind of looking at the season where you were playing Regigigas Hoopa, the control deck you were playing was so good that you could keep playing it and keep getting good finishes. But with a deck like Mewtwo in a meta that we have now, that's more of a control deck that you need more of that surprise on your hands.
Yeah.
The Pidgeotto Hoopa, that deck, they could know exactly what's in your deck and you could still beat them just because it was such a good control deck, and we don't really have that right now.
Yeah, the actually this game changed a lot in the last 20 years. Of
Oh, for
course,
sure, for sure.
the time change. I came from a period of time where internet doesn't exist, or at least in my country, my city, not it wasn't common to use the internet to get access to information, or at least the same amount of information that we have today. So when you just create a deck, when you just create something, no one can know about that, because there wasn't an occasion to make everyone understand or make everyone know about your deck. So I came from a time where if you want a good list, you have to pay for it. No, it was just like the paywall article that we have now in some website. But when I was playing Regigigas, all the limitless website was just born. It was so new, so we didn't know how to share properly information. And if you can see the page, there is this tournament, I think it's the SP in Bolzano. I decide to never give them my list, because I make just a few change, a few fix, because as you can see, I keep playing the same deck for a longer time, for a lot of tournament, and I try to arrange the deck list at the best way as possible. I ended up second in Lille, second again in Bolzano, and when I just think, okay, I have the perfect list, I kept it for myself, and I won the event before in Bristol. Something like this, it's not possible now, because when you play a deck, everyone already know this. Everyone already know the deck list, because if you make streaming, if you go, you post the list on Twitter. There isn't the possibility to just keep something from yourself. I think this is a good way for the new player, because if you are a new player, you need information, because you need something to approach the game. But for a competitive side, it lose something, because if everyone already know about everything in your deck after just one tournament, you have to keep fix your game, you keep fix your list every time. Sometimes too many information it's not the best things for the competitive game. But like I was saying, I'm old. I came from a very different time, so I'm trying to all of the time stay focused, stay update with all of this.
Of course. And no, yeah, I definitely understand that, especially recently where even like before COVID, you could, even when most lists were getting posted, you didn't have to post your list if you didn't want to. But now Arcanine is just posting all the lists for everybody. So you might not even, if you don't want to share your list, who cares? They're gonna send it to send it out anyway. So Limitless is gonna get it
Yeah,
even if you don't want
exactly.
to.
Also, with the new platform from Play.Limitless TCG, there was in at the last UIC tournament. I was testing this control deck. I test a Calyrex lock deck for 2 weeks, and before the set reveal. And just 1 week before the tournament, there was this control player that make a huge, amazing result with a very similar deck of mine on the same platform. And I just, okay, I have the tournament in 1 week, and the deck that I prepared for the last 2 weeks, now or everyone knew about that. What can I do?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's different. It's different. Now I feel now all of the deck building part is less important, especially because of the new cards that Pokemon decide to release. And what's the more important thing is just exist as a player, as a person in a tournament, and just try to make the best result with your skill and luck at the same time in during the tournament.
I see that. I see what you mean. Um, Now you were talking a bit about just about how the game has changed a lot. Could we go back those 20 years a little bit to when you first got involved
Yeah,
with the
sure,
game?
sure.
For sure. Because I guess one of my big questions is like, everyone knows how popular Pokemon was in the United States, in Japan. How did you get interested in Pokemon in Italy, especially the TCG? Was there much of an Italian community when you first got started on the internet, or were you speaking
Oh
English
God,
with people?
no.
How was that like when you first got started?
No, definitely not, definitely not. When it was a different time because Pokemon arrived in the USA before as we have in the Europe. When Pokemon arrived in Italy, in my country, in my city, it was just a huge thing because I started from playing soccer in the courtyard in the school. From there to play Pokemon in just Pokemon arrive and everyone knew about Pokemon. We have the cartoon in television, we have the video game, we have the TCG, we have the ball, we have the sock, we have the backpack, we have everything. Everyone in that was young just know everything about Pokemon. It was huge. Of course, I started to play Pokemon like everyone in my school, but I didn't start actually to play because the rules of Pokemon were just so easy. You just collect as many cards as possible, and at some point, you just throw Charizard at the table and you declare yourself a winner. So this was the rule of the TCG in my junior school. If you have Charizard, you are the winner because
Yeah, no one knew
it,
how to play, of course.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it was Charizard, so we also just write a lot of zero after the HP and after the amount of damage in the car. So how can you lose when you have a 10,000 HP Charizard that make 5 million damage? You can lose. It's just a Charizard. You always win. At some point, I remember during Christmas or something like that, my dad just came to me and my brother and say, "Stop, that's enough. I don't want to buy cars anymore because you have no idea how to play this game." And we were surprised because of course, we already knew the rule about the game. You just throw charts at the table. He wasn't convinced at all. So I had a friend in my class that actually knew this amazing place, a league Pokemon, a Pokemon League, where you can find a league owner, a professor Pokemon, and they actually teach you how to play the game. So I prepare myself. I just wear the best suit I have, and I came in this league where I met for the first time this Pokemon professor, and he say something like, "Hi, do you know how to play? Do you have your deck?" Yes, of course. And I put my 200 Pokemon cards just over the desk, and it was okay. This is not a deck because a deck must have 60 cards, and you have something like 200. So we can just put all of these cards apart for a second, and now I teach you how to play the game.
Mhm. What year was
So
this, if you don't mind me asking, just to give us
this
some
was
context?
the 2002.
Okay.
2002, yes.
Okay. So Nintendo
I
hadn't taken over the game yet, right? This was still Wizards and like Neo era time, I think.
Yeah, it was when I started to play the expedition set was never released. you know, Expedition
Hmm.
Skyridge and Aquapolis.
Yeah, like the
Uh,
last ones of that
yeah,
time.
they were never released when I start to play. So I just start to play for an year and a half. I just play in the league, and then we want something more. I was always a competitive person. From everything I made, from sports to game, I was always a competitive. Also, my dad was very young. So when I was like 10, he was 30. So he was a kind of nerd too. So he really was passionate about the game, and we start to play together. So in 2003, we start our first competitive season together, and we start to play our first tournament, then our first national tournament, and after the first national, we met a lot of people that actually know how to play the game, what to do, and it was everything start from that. We start in together in 2003, and this year, the 2023, this is our 20 competitive season still together because during every tournament I make during the last season, from the local player to the local tournament to the big major like the UIC or literally every other regional tournament I make this year, I make it together with my dad because we play together since 20 years and uh, we really want to keep playing for the next season at least.
Wow, I had no idea that's actually that's fantastic. So he's been does he still play much on his own, or do you just kind of hand him a deck and ask him to join you in these tournaments?
It's really mm, it's really strange because 20 years ago, of course, he was taking care of me about everything. I honestly have no idea how can he make everything he done because I remember this tournament. It was just like 1,000 kilometers away from our home. He just finished his work on Friday. He wake up at midnight. He just drive for 10 hours. We play our tournament. He drive 1,000 kilometers and 10 hours back, and he started to work at 7 a.m. the day after.
Wow.
Yeah, I will never have his strength. We make a lot of adventure together. I have probably not, definitely not enough time to tell you all of the adventure that we made in the last 20 years. I'm just saying that we play tournament inside a crypt. We play inside a supermarket. We play a tournament inside a bunker of the Second World War.
Wow.
We play a tournament in a pizza shop. I mean, we play a tournament during a storm inside a tent. So yeah, we have 20 interesting years for sure. Now it's different. He take care of for me when I was young. Now I'm trying to take care of him. So now I'm the one who drive. I'm the one who book all of the plane or the hotel. I prepared the deck for him, but he actually play definitely more than me on the Pokemon Live. I don't have enough time to test right now because I just have a baby 4 months ago, so I'm just trying to figure it out how to be a dad. You already knew that, so but he played definitely more than me, of course. He's kind of old now, so he doesn't have the endure to resist 7, 8, 9 round during the tournament. But just knowing that we will take the next trip together, it's way more than enough for me. I just hope that when my son will be old enough to start to play with us, we will have three different generation of our family playing in a tournament.
That yeah, that's really fantastic. I love that story. And could you tell us a little bit about your son? Because I've heard something about him attending a tournament. Could you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yes, yes. In Europe, I mean, I play since a long time, and I know a lot of people because I honestly stopped care about the game a long time ago because the game is good, but literally the only thing that keep me playing during all of this year is the Pokemon community. Without the Pokemon community, I would probably just quit a long time ago because Pokemon community is my second family. I spend most of my time talk with my Pokemon friend. Also, during the COVID period, we just stop playing Pokemon. We just stop talking about Pokemon, and we start talking about our like person like hey what are you doing it's not when I came to a tournament and I met all of my European friends I honestly don't care about the tournament. I want to know how their wife how's the work situation how what are they doing in their real life because when you know someone from 10 15 years the Pokemon is not in the Pokemon game is not important anymore. It's the player that play the game are the very important person. And I decided I started to talk about all of them about a tournament because now I'm 30 and also a lot of them are 30 and having they have son this year too. So we start this little race between us. One of them just bring his son to play a pre-release tournament because in the Pokemon game, there is no age limit when you want to play. So even if someone is very young, there's no rule that prohibits him to play a game.
Mm.
So of course they I just want to take a picture, okay? I make him drop after the first tournament. But in 2 weeks ago there was this SP in Turin in Italy, and I bring my son with me. I register him. It was a very close tournament to my place. It was a free tournament, so let's just take a picture together. So me, my dad, my son playing the same tournament for the first time. We take a picture. I make him drop after the first round. I don't know. It seems to me a good time. I think I have how do you say the the world record for the youngest Pokemon player in history or something like that. It was like 4 months. So I don't know. Maybe 4 months is a decent amount of time to start the first Pokemon tournament.
Of course, you got to get them started young. Of course, I understand.
Yeah,
I definitely understand that.
I make him pop ID after 2 hours he was born. So he didn't have a birth certificate yet.
Oh
He
my
already has
goodness.
his pop ID.
That's very funny. Yeah, yeah, that's really knowing kind of your priorities, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
For sure. No, I love that. That's very funny. And no, and what you're saying about like kind of seeing your friends, that makes a lot of sense because especially like the longer and longer you play, the game changes. Sometimes the game is fun, sometimes the game is not very fun, and playing the game is the reason that's kind of that the reason you're driving out there, but that's not really, why you're there. At the end of the day, it's about like the friends you make, the connections you make, the fun you have. Hopefully it's that, and not ever, I'm sure there's some people who just want to win, 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 but I think the longer you play, the more you kind of learn
Yeah,
to
exactly.
appreciate
I
the
mean, there
other
are.
things.
I understand the new player, especially in the USA. There are some huge, amazing player right now. They are so young. They are doing really great. Basically, because they have time to test. They are young enough to stay focused on the game all the time. So I understand the fire inside you that wants to do the best. But when you play since a long time, as I do, yes, win a tournament is always good. It's always important. But spend some quality time with your friends, with your Pokemon family is way more important than win a tournament.
Hmm. Yeah, that's I think that's the real lesson to take home. If you forget everything else from this interview, I think that's probably the big thing to remember. Just appreciate things in the game other than just playing the game.
Yeah, this is also one of the things that I encourage to do. I started to make content on YouTube and Twitch like 4 years ago.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier about when you had that success with the regionals you started. Could you tell us a bit more
Yeah,
about like YouTube and things like that?
yeah. I was the youngest Pokemon professor in Italy. I was the youngest judge, tournament organizer. I start organize tournament and judge them when I had 14. So I always try to create something good in the Pokemon community, share my passion with the game, make everyone try to teach the game in the same way that the Pokemon professor made with me a few years before. So when I always do this for free because when I had some local tournament or local event, something like that. I always spend some time after or before the tournament, just hey kid, do you wanna know what are we doing? We are playing Pokemon. Do you know how to play Pokemon? No, come here, I teach you. And I do this. I've done this for like 15 years or something like that. And 4 years ago, I lost my job the Christmas Eve actually.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no, I was never a good employer, so it's fine. But at some time I realized I never like to do anything outside Pokemon world because I don't know. This is just what I am, what I do for since I can remember. So I just moved in with my girlfriend. She has his job, and I, we just take a disagreement. Can I start doing content on YouTube and Twitch? Let's just see if I can make something up from it. And we say yes, I can start. Let's just see how how how, how it will the people just react to that because in Italy there was no one at the time that was doing the same thing that I want to do. I
Hmm.
want to do. I want to teach how to be a competitive player playing Pokemon TCG. I never had any interest into open packs. I don't really give. I don't really have. I was saying a bad word. I don't really care about opening packs. I don't really care about screaming. I'm too old to scream when I open something good. If I need a card, I just bought it. So I don't really care about that. But in Italy, there was no one at the time that tried to make the people understand what to do with the cards after they open a pack. So I start from scratch. I started from nothing. I That was 4 years ago. I had no idea how to talk with people. I was a very introvert person, so I had no idea how to talk to the camera. I had no idea how a microphone works or how to edit video. So I didn't know nothing. I start from nothing, and somehow people like me. Somehow people want to know about me as a person. People want to know about how improve their game. So I just start from that, and this is not my job now. I'm trying to do something else, but as an hobby, it's a very good things that I love to do because even if I'm not focused anymore on like 5 days a week, just update 5 video a week, I'm just chilling and if I'm trying to be someone that people can easily reach if they want to start to play competitive because Basically, there's no one else that is doing this, but also there is no one in Italy with the same amount of experience that I am. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying I'm good. I'm just saying I'm old enough that I have experience. So if you want to know how to properly deck build something, if you want to know how to book a flight, if you want to know how to reach a tournament location, because there are a lot of people that actually never make a trip before. So there are a lot of things that a completely new player need to know if they want to start to play competitive. So I'm trying to be that person. So you need some information, you write to me. I'm trying to help you in the best way I can. So this is what I'm doing right now.
Mm. Yeah, and I really do appreciate that. I think that and not to talk too much about myself, but that's also kind of the goal with me interviewing people on the podcast. It's it's kind of just learning more about the people themselves, learning things about the community that people might have questions about, but they don't necessarily always have a resource for that. More than just having tier lists, meta stuff, just some of the conversations that don't come up as often. I think
Yeah, I
is
like this way that you have to interview players. I think it's really important that most of the people understand that behind a player there is also a person. Most of the time, maybe it's just a very young person. They don't have a lot to share, or they don't know yet how to share. But especially in the USA, if everyone understands that behind the player there is also always a person, I think all of your tournament will be definitely way better, or at least more enjoyable.
Yes, I think that we're not calling anyone out, of course. Just just that's just a lesson for everyone. And I think the biggest thing I'm getting out of talking to you right now is that a lot of the lessons you're telling us about Pokemon, things like that, they're very important with life. It's not just important to know that your opponent at a regional is also a person who might be going through things. That's a thing that's going to help you through life. That's like the real lessons that you want us to learn.
Yeah, I honestly, I have to say, I wasn't always like this. Now I'm 30, I'm a dad, I'm a grown-up person, I'm mature enough that I can say these things, but I wasn't like this since a couple years ago. For most of my time in the Pokemon community, I was a very introvert person, so no one really know about me outside the Italian community. I was a very how can I say this in a not vulgar way? Um, I was someone I was very arrogant and I was a person that never took off from a discussion. So if you wanted to make a discussion, I was first in line.
Mm.
So I grew up with time. So now I understand people that are young. They made mistake basically because they're young. They have to make mistake. So I don't really judge. I don't really push. Every time on Twitter, I saw a lot of drama, a lot of problem, and now I am old enough that I understand that people just make mistake.
Hmm.
But a lot of people are not um, just old enough. They are not mature enough to understand it. But yeah, they will understand with
I'm sure.
time.
I would hope so, of course.
Yeah.
Um, Now, since you just have so much history as a player, we are gonna kind of move a little bit back and forth, if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna move a little bit back towards your beginning as a player. So you were telling us how you kind of got involved as a league. You've told us a little bit about the Italian community. At what point did you kind of start to have that level of success as a player that you started looking towards the European community, the international Pokemon community, like especially so early in the history of the game? I know Pokegym was kind of the forum for a lot of American players.
Mhm.
I don't know if that was really popular for a lot of European players. Like, at what point did you start to look more internationally as a player and into the international community?
Definitely 2018. Before 2018, I won two national championship, but I won those tournament with the two very peculiar deck, and peculiar is just a soft definition. I always try to create an anti-meta deck in order to just counter the meta and win a tournament with that. It took me literally most of my year, and I never care about the international community basically because, as you can get, I never know English very well, so it was a huge wall between me and the international community, and I never used Pokegym before. And I honestly never used the Italian forum a lot. As I'm saying, I was a very internet person. I never used social media before. I just downloaded Twitter last year, so
Mm.
yeah, and I'm still trying to understand how it works. So yeah, I'm so old, but
You're not that old, I swear, I swear.
so sorry about this.
Oh, you're good,
And
you're good.
but in 2000, in 2018, something happened. I came to Worlds and to a World Championship with a deck that literally no one say that want to play in a competition as important as the World Championship. So I just panic. I completely panic. And the day before the tournament, one of my friends just sent me a list. I say, just play this because the deck that you want to play is not a deck. It's just a common pile of huge garbage. So don't play that. Play this. I say, well, okay. I always do bad in at World Championships, so I it's okay. I try something different. I start a tournament, and in day one I won 7 game. So yay! I go to
Not
the day
bad.
two. Not bad. I succeeded to a day two. In the day two, I was 5-1-1. I need just one more win, and I will make day two. I will make top eight. That was my like 11 world championship appear, and after all of the time making top 8 at world championship, it was just a dream. I was in streaming against Pedro, and after the first game they discovered that I have a deck list problem, so I lost my win and in for a top 8 game, and two things happen in that time. The first one, I realized for the first time that I had in me the power, if it's the right term, to compete with the very best in the world.
No, that makes sense. I understand that.
Because before that, I just play a tournament and it's okay. I play. If I do well, nice. If I do bad, it's okay. I don't really care because I always play bad deck in my Pokemon career, so I never thought that I can really make something good. But for the first time, I was just so close to the top 8. And I want to make a top 8. I want to win for the first time after like 15 years. So I decided to play for real. And in the same time, I decided that I want to open a YouTube channel. It was the same period. So lucky for me, the season the season was over after World Championship, and the next season I discovered the Regigiga Supa that we talked before, and it was definitely one of my most successful season as a player. So from them, it was just okay. Everything's changed. I want to try to compete in my own term, but I want to try to compete with the best. So even right now, I never play tier 1 deck because I don't know. Mm. I honestly don't know why. It just I found them very boring because if I have to play the same deck that also 200 person, 200 people playing the same tournament, I would just end to play a lot of mirror match. Everyone already knew the deck that I play. Everyone know how to play against me. So I don't like to play tier one deck. I still want to try to play something different. But in the last 2, maybe 3 years, I was in day two, always in day two at Worlds, first in Italy. I also make some decent result, so I'm not doing bad. Of course, I probably can do better if I just decide to play real deck. But at my own term, after all of this time, I'm trying to compete, and I really enjoy it.
No, I understand that, and no, and I really like that. I think that you have like a definitely like a goal you set for yourself, and it sounds like that world championship kind of really made you realize that like I'm not just this like good Italian player, like I'm a good player, like a real good player, and I can have that success. And I mean, Limitless only goes so far back, like you said, but I can see
Yeah, it
that.
just took me 15 years to realize that.
Hey, sometimes you never
Yeah,
know,
I
but
always,
now
I
you're
always
here.
was a very slow person to realize things.
Um, so that because I one of the questions I kind of had ready to ask was kind of talking about some of the like your the most some of the more interesting decks you've played or your favorite decks that you've played in the past, and it sounds like you had kind of some weird deck choices before you kind of started taking the game like super seriously like 5 years ago. Do you have any memorable tournaments or seasons or decks that you'd want to talk about a little bit before kind of your big breakthrough at that world championship? Or
There is this website. I honestly don't remember the name, but there is this website that, beside the Limitless, show you the achievement and the results of basically every player in the world since the beginning. And if I will find this website, I will send it to you.
I
You
think
can
it's
see.
is it PTCG Archive, I think. I can try to look for you on it.
Mm,
um
no, it's not this. Well, okay. Um, in this website, you can see the results, and it's very interesting because in the same time you can find the USA result in the national and the European result. And
hmm.
in the 2 years that I won the national championship, 2010, 2013, you will see the same deck win the same tournament all over the world, and then that was just me. With my very 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 interesting things. I from For all of the player that knew the era in the 2008. One of the very best deck was Plox, so Gardevoir and Gallade, and the other one was Magmortar Togekiss. It was, guys, 2008, so it's okay if you don't know what I'm talking about. But in that year I arrived second in the national with this Gorebis Banet, two Pokemon that they have nothing in common to each other, but Banet won against Plox and Gorebis won against Magmortar Togepiss, and I just put them together. It was so magic, and it was funny because when I arrived second at the national, and I think I posted the list somewhere, and the people says to me, "Oh wow, how much it cost your deck?" I was saying like 12 euro or something like that. It was basically a team deck that where I changed two cards. So yeah, there was like this amazing Gorbis Manet. The funny part is in that tournament there was this very promising young player. It was his first season in the Master. He already won everything when he was playing in the Senior, and he arrived in the Master Division, and everyone thought that year he will be the winner because he was an amazing player. And this player was playing Plox, and he faced in the first round of the national championship my mom because Pokemon was a family passion. So I was playing Pokemon, my father was playing Pokemon, my brother was playing Pokemon, and in this tournament, my mom always play Pokemon, and she beat him. She beat him in the first tournament of the national championship, and then he dropped after the second round because
Oh my goodness.
yeah, something like that. Me, I arrived second. My best friend arrived third, and my father arrived fourth in that national tournament with all of the same deck.
Hmm.
And the same things will be happen again in 2013. My father again with my same deck. I won the tournament. He made top four. It was I, I know that I'm just saying different Pokemon, but at that time it was a real deck. It was a Sigilyph, Virizion. I know they are just two Pokemon, but I assure you, at that time it was a real deck. I mean, not a decent, but it was a real deck, and I won a tournament. I won a tournament with that.
Was
You
this
know,
the Sigilith that like it couldn't be hit by EXs? Was it
yeah,
that?
exactly. It was a
Yeah.
safeguard. Yeah.
And was that just
I,
like a deck that you just like put together?
Yes, like I'm saying, at that time, if you want to create something and you want to keep it secret, you had the opportunity because no one, an online tournament never existed. Internet was not so popular. The change of information between country was nothing compared to what we have now. So the national championship was in June, I think, and we created this deck 2 months before. So we have April, May, 2 months to try the deck, test it, and no one knew about that because how can they know about that?
Hmm. That's very interesting. So it's just hard for me to imagine because like I also played around that time, but I still kind of I would go on Poke Gym. I would like I know the what was Puka's YouTube channel? Was that the Top Cut? Was still like a thing. So I there was still some amount of like online content at least in the United States, but it's just so interesting hearing you just like being able to test this deck for 2 or 3 months and nobody knows about it. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely no one. I mean, probably in whole Italy there were just like two, maybe three people that know about Poke Gym. They actually use it. The only YouTube channel that make content in Italian about Pokemon, it just was an open pack channel. So no one know about anything outside what they are doing in their own league.
Hmm. So when it comes then to like some of like the deck building decisions you've had with things like the control deck with some of these like interesting decks when you were winning all these Italian nationals, like um how did you how do you approach deck building looking at the game? Is there any advice maybe you'd give a newer player who's looking to um again, it's different now because of limitless and online. It's a little harder
Yes.
to kind of counter the meta, but in general, like what's some of like the advice you'd give to playing the game and deck building to a newer player?
So the advice that I do to the new player, literally new player, so not to the player that arrive from a different game, not the player that are competitive in other card game, but the 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 same advice that I do to every new player that approach this game about deck building is just don't do it.
Hmm.
I mean, you have no experience. You don't know the cards. You don't know what we competitive player are doing. So don't do that. If you just want to start the game and you saw a deck list that win a tournament, just take it as it is and play it. Because if someone win a tournament with a good deck list, probably they spend a lot of time behind it. I mean, in this game, there is a huge amount of luck that you need to win a tournament. But if you don't spend a lot of time on your deck and if you don't know how to play it, you will never win a tournament, even if you are the luckiest person in the world. So if you're a new player, there is no point to take a deck list that already has an achievement and change with the card that you like. Because probably the cards that you are taking out, they're put in there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So to every new Italian player that just start the game, there are sometimes people who say, yes, I started to play Lost Box, but I changed two cards. Don't. Why are you changing two cards? If you already took a good deck list, don't change it. So there is a time for everything. When I start to play a new card game, I'm I'm doing the same approach. So I take a deck list. I understand how the deck works. I try the deck. I try to master it. I try to be as much confident as possible with the deck. Then, just then, when I think I understand everything, when I have a decent, reasonable amount of game with the deck, I can start to think to change something. And definitely start to play and create something new, it's never a good choice because, as I'm saying, you don't have the information, you don't have the experience, you don't know how to create a new deck, so just don't. If you're a new player, we have Limitless, we have a lot of YouTuber that create a deck list, create a video about the deck, just pick them. It doesn't matter if you are picking a meme deck, a fun deck, or a competitive one. It doesn't matter. But even a non-competitive YouTuber can create a good deck. So you can just start from it, and then with the time, create something on your own.
Mm. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like I do think that like a lot of players um underrate the fact that if a deck won a tournament, it is clearly good. I do think that a lot of players maybe like deep down, and maybe it's the same mentality with kind of not always wanting to play like the best deck. Like people always they kind of want to give themselves a challenge, like well, I don't want to be another person who does well with this exact same 60, but what feels better, changing that card and doing okay, or just playing the deck and doing very, very well, like I think if you look at what was it, Fresno, like Reagan Retzloff winning with that Lugia list. I mean, he and his group has been playing that Lugia list, and if you look on Limitless, it has like 20 day twos because it's very good.
Yeah, I was talking about Reagan with my group of friends. Reagan, this is his first season in the Master Division. Of course, he is a promising player, but if you check what kind of deck he played this season, in the last in the last 8 tournament, he played Lugia 7 times. So if you are a new player, even of course he's not a new player, but this is the first time that he play in the Master Division, so it's a whole new world. You start from a tournament with 100 players, now you are competing with 2,000 players, so everything is different. You are not playing with teenager. Most of the time you face some mature guy at least where you face against. So if you see his season, that is exactly what a new player has to do in order to understand the game, in order to make a good result, in order to make. I mean, it's an amazing season what Reagan is doing right now. He has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has six top 16 in the last 8 tournaments. So this is just a good example on how someone can enter in a game in the proper way, and every time trying to be better, improve himself, and then the results, if you are at least capable in this game, will arrive. I'm not saying that if you're playing the same deck for the whole season, you will win a tournament. I would never say that. But he was a good player in the senior. He's stay a good player in the master. He's doing an amazing thing. I think everyone that want to start the game should follow his example.
Hmm. That's it. Yeah, I see that. That's incredibly helpful for sure. Now, to as we start maybe beginning to wrap up a little bit, I do want to touch back onto your YouTube channel because you're giving us some incredibly helpful advice, and it sounds like your YouTube channel is also kind of focused around just being that main resource for the Italian community, especially for those who might not be as proficient in English. Just being an Italian resource from a veteran player for getting involved with the game. What is kind of your goals for the channel? Could you tell us a little bit about where you want to see it in the future?
Yeah, I started a YouTube channel 4 years ago, and at that time, that I want to make that my work. So I try to monetize the channel. I never started to coach anyone because I think the whole coaching system is a huge waste of money for the people that start to coach. So I don't like the way that the coaching is created. I do something different. Mm, Most of the time I'm doing for free. I'm not good into selling stuff. I'm not going to sell meat. But when I started the YouTube channel, at that time it should be my profession. After 4 years, I reach a good point where now I have something like 17,000 viewers, but I have to realize something that Pokemon TCG, it's definitely not the most enjoyable play to watch. Definitely. It's not definitely the most enjoyable and easy game to approach. So I could never make something with an Italian channel of a Pokemon competitive game. So after 4 years, I decided to stop to consider a channel a profession for me. So my other passion was always soccer. So I started to create a career for myself as a soccer coach. So I'm right now I don't see a future for my YouTube channel outside what I'm doing right now, and this is just a chill way to create a bridge between the new player and the Pokemon competitive game. So I think until someone else will decide to do this, I will just exist. So I'm making a Twitch stream. I'm making a YouTube video. Everything of this it's not focused on monetize anymore. All of this is just a focus on make the life of the new player as easy as possible.
Hmm.
So I yeah, that is my goal. Become a point of focus for the new player and for the Italian Pokemon community
I
competitive.
see. I like that a lot. Yeah, and I see kind of the consistently throughout our conversation talking about helping the community. How that's clearly just been such a big a focus for you because of the impact it's had on you.
Yeah, I mean, if we will have the opportunity in the next episode, I will talk more about how bad I am and how much this focus on helping the community is a way to redeem myself from the person that I was
Mm.
in the past. But I don't want to create a bad figure of me in the first episode. So we will
So this is
focus
going to be the
about that.
introduction, of
Yeah, we will
course.
focus about that in the next
Yes,
slide.
yes, yes. And I definitely would love to have you on again in the future. This has been a great conversation. As we start to wrap up, do you have any shout outs? Where can people find you or contact you? Are there any events you're planning on being at for the rest of the season?
Yes, I will come to NIC in the next like 2 weeks, something like that. So I will come to NIC. I need a top 512 to secure my day two for Worlds. So prepare because I really want my points. And I will bring all of my family with me in Japan. So I will bring my dad, my mom, my wife, my son, everyone. I will bring them to Japan to play the World Championships. So you will see me there for sure. And if you want to reach me, you can find me on Twitch, iCaterpie. You find me on YouTube, iCaterpie. I'm so sorry, I speak Italian because I realized the 98% of my community, according to the Google share data, is Italian. So I'm speaking
Oh,
Italian.
it's no
But
problem.
if you just join if you join the stream, you can speak English. As you probably understand right now, I'm not the best English
Oh, dude,
talker, but
your
I
English has been
really
great. I swear, it's been very,
I
very
really
good.
try my
I
best.
appreciate it.
So and yeah, I'm probably 50% sure that now I understand how to use Twitter. So
Okay,
I might Caterpie on Twitter too. I'm
great.
probably one of the few person that keep using Facebook, but I promise it's only for the Fanta soccer in Italy.
Um, well, thank you so much for joining us. We would love to have you on again. I really appreciate everything you've told us, everything we've had to learn from you. Thank you again for joining us. I hope you have a great well,
Thank
for you
you.
it's past midnight, so I hope you have a great start of your day.
Yeah, no, this is where my day starts, so don't worry about that. No, thank you so much for the opportunity. I think this kind of content it's very particular, but I think it's the right way to direct the community to a more personally way to see the person.
Hmm, I
I don't,
appreciate that. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
I hope at least you understand what I'm trying to say because it was
Yes,
already
yes, I think I
complicated in my
understand.
mind. When it came out of my mind, it was a disaster.
No, no,
But
no.
yeah,
I
I
think it
think
came across perfectly.
okay. I think what you're trying to do it's really nice. It's really interesting. And yeah, I can see for sure. I can see me for sure in the next episode to telling something more uncomfortable about
Hmm.
everything if we want to.
All right, we'll have that little teaser at the end there. All right, thank you again. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to Alessandro for being so generous with his time. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If you're interested in hearing more conversations like this one, please consider giving the podcast a follow, review, or rating wherever you're listening. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at memcappodcast, or if you'd like to follow me, the host, you can follow me on Twitter at RZGladys. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for listening.